Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This has been a wonderful subcommittee meeting, and I really thank all of the folks who have come to testify. My question initially is for Dr. Rao, but if other people want to pipe in after he's answered it, please feel free. So I'm from North Carolina, from the Research Triangle area, and I've done some work with renewable energy and with integrated resource plans. And North Carolina was the first state in the Southeast to adopt a renewable energy portfolio standard. And in addition to adopting that standard, it created incentives for the regulated utilities to encourage conservation. Because as we know, if we conserve energy, then we don't have to produce as much, right? And so, because you are working in multidisciplinary areas and trying to reach communities that might not be like the techie community I live in that looks at their smart meter and tries to figure out how to peak shave and do all of this, how can we use research, and in particular behavioral research, to encourage conservation, and what else should be added to enable communities that don't traditionally think about conservation to see it both as cost saving and a way to improve our planet?
Thank you so much for that question. That's a really important dimension. One aspect of this is involving customers more directly in reducing load, and that involves potentially using new technologies, smart appliances, smart devices, potentially having to be much more involved in your energy conditions, or thinking about energy costs. If you have a smart meter that tells you more information about your real-time prices and how you respond to them, we need to understand if people are able and willing to engage that much more in the effort to try and save energy. So I think we can do a lot of research on the customer side to understand behaviorally what will incent customers to really engage. And we need more research. That's qualitative fieldwork to talk to people, engage stakeholders. That's one aspect. I think we also need institutional research and understanding how we provide the incentives to utilities and to other agencies and to state governments to provide the kind of support that we need, both to prepare the grid in order to deliver that information to people, to understand the physical conditions of buildings, to know where we can maximize get the most bang for the buck in terms of building shell improvements, for example, and also making sure that you have the right set of incentives for coordination amongst different players to make sure that all of these end up leading to significant long-term investments in efficiency. Because as you very rightly said, the more we invest in conservation, the less we have to invest to a greater extent in supply of energy.
And just one part of my question was, for less educated and low-income communities who traditionally do not live places where it's easy to conserve energy and don't come from a culture where that's something that's valued, or it's complicated to figure. My mother couldn't figure out how to use an AMI meter. So what can we do to bridge that gap? Because not only will that help our environment, but it'll lower their energy costs.
Yes, I absolutely agree. There is a digital divide in some sense. There's an information gap. We know some things about it. What can we do about it? We can ask people. I think we need strong stakeholder engagement to understand what it will take for people to engage. And that's really what I think is the first step. I'd also mention we have a lot of publicly created data from national surveys that starts to hint a little bit at some of these conditions, people's education level, people's engagement with other technologies that we can use as a starting point. But we definitely need to ask people. That's my main message.
I only have a couple seconds left, so if anybody else wants to pipe in, please do so. Otherwise, I'll yield back.
I just wanted to comment that, at Brookhaven, we've created a department that I chair that brings together energy efficiency integration and grid modeling, as well as energy storage, because as you so correctly said, all of those questions are interrelated. Thank you.